At the top at 6, war tonight is the Migrant Caravan is headed to California. Customs and Border Patrol in the valley continues to prepare at our ports of entry.
Today, Channel 5 News and other media were invited on a tour of the International Bridge in Hidalgo. Channel 5's Valerie Gonzalez shares how they're preparing.
This first-of-its-kind tour provided insight into how asylum seekers are processed and the limited room CBP has to do that. Meanwhile, a new proclamation intends to restrict asylum seekers to ports like this one. CBP gave a tour of the International Bridge at Hidalgo, gateway to Reynosa. The port director said CBP normally processes up to 49 people a day. We walked to the U.S.-Mexico boundary where asylum seekers wait. The CBP spokesperson said they give children and elderly preference. Once they're inside, there's a pantry full of food, diapers, hygiene products, and even clothing that's provided to those whose processing times are lengthy. In a part of the facility where recording was restricted due to privacy, they have a nursery and other offices where 19 asylum seekers waited. After this process, they are taken into custody by Immigration and Customs Enforcement Removal Operations, or ICE ERO. The new proclamation issued by the president today seeks to shift all asylum seekers to these ports. It also dictates more resources to be sent to facilitate processing here. But CBP admits they're not ready to handle a high volume of asylum seekers.
This is simply not an appropriate place to hold people for a day, 2 days, overnight for that matter. It was never built or designed for that. So our processing capacity is totally dependent on ICERO being able to accept and receive these people as we process them.
The resources to be committed to help with processing at ports of entry were vague. Director David Higgerson tells us there's nothing that can be done about the space available here. CBP is just the first link in a long chain of processing for asylum seekers. This means the ports of entry right now are completely dependent on the expediting of the agencies that continue the process for asylum seekers like ICE ERO. We asked what would happen if ICE ERO does not speed up their process. That would leave the ports of entry with long lines. We asked if there was a plan in place to expand the processing space at the bridge through makeshift tents. Director Higgerson admits there is no contingency plan in place in the valley if that happens. In the studio, Valerie Gonzalez, Channel 5 News at 6.